What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video from Mr. Gray's Talk Room. I'm your host, Christian Gray. Today, we're going to be talking about content creation and your relationships. If you want to put some sort of thumbnail on it, it could be content creation or love. How do you make her choose you over the content you produce? Truth be told, it doesn't matter. But before I get into today's segment, I do want to preface this video and let you know that I am very sorry that I have not been producing videos. Although some of you may think that I'm doing this podcast full time, I am not a full-time influencer. I'm not a full-time podcaster. I have no kind of contracts with any kind of company. Anything that I've always said that I've marketed for, I'm not doing some cheesy pickup line. I'm not marketing saying, oh, you should do this because it does this. No. The things that I have, whether you're buying the type of computer that I use, or the speakers, or the microphone, or my mouse, or anything like that in my Amazon affiliates program, I don't have any kind of direct affiliation with the company. I'm just saying, hey, Amazon Associates program said, hey, you could sell this product or market this product. Here's a link and you get a bit of commission. I'm an affiliate marketer in that aspect. But I'm not directly affiliated with the companies that I mentioned. I have no direct affiliation. I have no direct contract. So if I say, hey, go use Blue Chew, it's because I've used Blue Chew before and I like it. Does that mean they give me money? No, I'm not that type of influencer. You know, I may get a referral code and a referral bonus, but that's it. Until Blue Chew decides, hey, this guy's a good marketer, we're going to use him, let's pay him some money. Yeah, but I do want to let you know that all the stuff that I've had and I currently have, I'm not here trying to use some cheesy pickup line. I see all these podcasters, use this like, oh, you want Manscaped, here's the advertising, here's the script. I don't like scripts. And if there's one thing that you've learned about me with all my past 19 episodes, that I'm off script. I'm an off script guy. I've always been an off script guy. So if I ever get into a contract with a company, I'm not using their script. This is my show, not theirs. This is my show. They're having the privilege to be part of my show. So I want you guys to know that one of the things that has held me back from making these videos is because I'm not a full-time influencer. I'm not a full-time podcaster. I'm not a full-time content creator. This is something I do in my pastime as a hobby. And I've had over, I think, 300 videos, maybe 100 videos. I don't know how many videos I've had. I haven't checked YouTube in a minute. I have a full-time job outside of this. But the way I separate myself between my professional life and my personal life, my hobby, this pastime, this podcast, is I separate myself because I use the pseudonym Christian Gray. A lot of people, and you won't know this until you're in my inner circle, a lot of people don't actually know my real name. I'm pretty sure you can find it if you look hard enough. But for the most part, people don't know my real name. And if you do know my real name, people don't even call me by my real name. And if you could figure out my nickname to my real name, then you're in my inner circle. But nevertheless, one of the reasons why I haven't posted videos lately is because I've been busy switching jobs. If you don't remember this, back in 2018 of May 2021, I got fired from one of my first jobs out of college. And so that was from 2018, June 2018 to May 2018 or 2021. So that was about 3 years. And then I had to work at Amazon and FedEx just to pay the bills and lift up my credit cards. Got a loan, paid that off. I was working at another foster care agency. And I did that for 3 years, but I didn't do front healthcare administration, meaning the operations side. I did back end healthcare administration, which was the contract administration, the logistics of appeals and peer-to-peer reviews and just a lot of stuff in the healthcare. So I'm a healthcare administrator professionally, but on the back end, I am a podcaster, whatever you want to call it, content creator. But I do this in my own pastime because my personal life doesn't intertwine with my professional life, which is a good separation. But nevertheless, so essentially with my old job is they did not want to pay me what I was worth. And although I got a bigger pay bump than when I was at the clinic, which was in 2018 to 2021 of May, in September 2021, I had to take the job because although I did healthcare administration in Texas, I didn't do for multiple states. All right. Then I got the experience for multiple states. So contracts with Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri. I built everything. Clinics on clinics, multiple specialties, whether it was substance use disorder, whether it was a PRTF, whether it was therapeutic foster care, whether it was fucking targeted case management or rehab skills. That's what I did as a contract administrator. That was my title. I went from office manager to contract administrator. Instead of being in operations, I'm on back end healthcare administration. But they didn't want to pay me what I was worth in the beginning, and I didn't have a lot of good bonuses. I had a lot more freedom because I was working from home, but the caveat is that I knew I was supposed to be paying at least 15 grand more for what I do. So then I got this new job with a specialized psychiatry clinic, and I literally got the 10 grand that I knew that I needed. So with all that being said and done, I do apologize that I haven't been able to produce content for you. But I do want to let you know I am a human being. I'm a normal guy. There's nothing special about my life other than how I have my relationships, which is really what this podcast is based about. Originally, in my original YouTube videos, a lot of my stuff was based out of style, how to be confident, how to dress confident. And then I realized I was just some cheesy motherfucker. I really did. Then, once I got my mental health diagnosis, and for those of you who don't know, I have bipolar 1 disorder, which is not a big deal because I've been living with it since I was, I want to say 2020. I think it was January 19, 2020 that I got my diagnosis. It was a Wednesday. Let me see. I want to see this stuff. When did I get my diagnosis? It's Wednesday, October 9th. Bear with me, guys. I'm actually looking to see. So, down, 20, January. So, it was either January 8th or January 15th or 14th to 16th. So somewhere along those days, right? Let's just say from the 1st to the 16th. I know it wasn't a Friday. At one of those days, I got my diagnosis. It said, hey, I realized why you have problems sleeping. You have bipolar 1 disorder. And I was like, damn. Well, it was funny because my neuropsychologist literally told me, he says, I have good news and bad news. And I'm like, give me the good news. Like, shit. He says, the good news is you're not dumb. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, you have ADHD, but your IQ, in terms of how you process things, is a 120. So if 100 is average, a 120 is superior, and I think a 140 or 135 is like meaning you're a savant, probably autistic, or like you're super smart. Which comes with its own drawbacks. He says, you understand things so well that you can manipulate the situation, etc., etc. It was an IQ test. But the problem is your processing speed is at an 80. So it takes 3-4 times longer, whether I'm doing it verbally, whether I'm doing it through word, or whether I'm doing it through, whether it's through word or through word, whether it's through speaking or through words, you respond better in terms of just send me an email and you'll understand that. In terms of if I just tell you something and there's no context, if you don't send me an email, like a follow-up email, I won't really do that. So your IQ is 100. It's an average, but you're a lot smarter than you think. The thing is, you need verbal and you need verbal and word communication. So verbal and written communication. You won't operate the same if you have one without the other. So essentially, I'm smart because I have the ability to interpret things much better than the average person, think outside the box. But if you give me one without the other, I'm not going to operate so well. Essentially, that's what he said. So that was the good news on top of the ADHD diagnosis. So I'm not retarded. It just takes me longer to understand things if I don't have written and verbal communication. Why the fuck is this turned out? Damn. Sloppy as fuck. On the flip side is he says, hey, you have PTSD, you have social anxiety, you have general anxiety, you have a panic disorder. That's why you're having panic attacks. That's why you can't sleep at night. That's why you wake up in the bed sweating, having nightmares and bed sweats. Is you have bipolar 1 disorder and you also have PTSD, right? On top of all the other stuff. Once he told me that, I remember telling my friends before I told my parents. And this segment is actually not to tell you about my diagnosis because you can watch my old videos. But what I'm telling you is that I'm a normal human being. I have normal problems. There's nothing significant about me. All I'm telling you is that I don't want you to go through the bad relationships that I had to deal with. So the bad relationships that I had to deal with are really what... The bad relationships that I had, if I look back at it now, every girl that I'm dating moving forward is, I just don't tolerate bullshit anymore. If you put aside my professional job, if you put aside this podcast, if you put aside the women that I've dated, it's really just like, why am I dealing with that? So after I got my diagnosis, I actually went to therapy. And growing up in a Hispanic household, we really didn't talk about mental health. We didn't really talk about if someone did something wrong to you. You just took a shot, you had a drink, and you move on from it. Or you just don't talk about it at all. Which isn't a good way to cope with things. Because I have siblings and I have relatives where bad things happen to them. And their only option is to brush it off. And it hurts me as a human being. It really does hurt me. And I'm not going to talk about this here because it's not my story to tell. But it's also those things that make me very mad, that how can other human being do that to their relative? That's not something I would do or even think about. It gets me mad. And I'm pretty sure that you have an idea listening to how upsetting it makes me. But regardless of all that, because the wrongdoings was from man to woman, I'm telling you is that wrongdoings man to woman are normally physical. But wrongdoings from women to men is normally emotional and mental and verbal. Because you won't really see a woman try to hit another man unless the woman's bigger than them, or the man doesn't know how to fight, or if it's a fucking torta versus a fucking flaquito, then yeah, that's when you're going to see the fucking torta beat the shit out of the flaquito. Like, there's just a massive side difference. If she's 200 pounds and he's 135, I mean, like, yeah, she's going to fuck him up. But that's neither here nor there. I postponed doing videos because I was literally working about my career. I'm trying to get paid what I'm worth. I'm actually trying to do what I do because before this I had a career consulting resume writing business that didn't fluctuate well just because I didn't market myself well. But it taught me a lot. I've written 3 books, and now the 4th with switching things up. I'm just doing this as a pastime. I'm not trying to make this a legitimate business. If it fluctuates, it fluctuates. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm still going to produce content to you. But just want to let you know that I still have normal people problems because I am just a regular person. And even if I blow up, I'm still just a regular person with a social status, which is what everybody wants. Nevertheless, so I'm pretty sure that you heard about my last girlfriend. I'm going to say Elvira. The reason why I say Elvira is because that's her middle name, and only Elvira knows her real name, unless you know who Elvira is. So, last girlfriend, I break up with her. My last girlfriend, we had arguments. She broke up with me, and then she came back, and then she kind of broke up with me, but still came back because I said something she didn't like. And don't get me wrong, this woman treated me very well in the beginning, but the problem is that as I got to know her, she had a lot of disdain and mistrust for men for being sentient beings. So essentially, if I did something wrong as a man, let's say I took a wrong turn on the wrong street, she'd be like, "Oh my God, you're such a fucking man. Like, why can't you just do yada yada yada?" Essentially, when she was saying like, "Oh my God, you're such a fucking man," which is what her preface was for literally every argument, and I'm like, well, I'm not a lesbian and I'm not a woman. I don't know what the fuck you want me to tell you. Yes, I'm a man. Men think differently than women. Like, and bear in mind, this was an Amazonian woman. If I'm 5'10", she's like 6', 6'1". So she was a tall woman. She wasn't a big woman. She was big by proxy, if that's the same. Not big, like not fucking torta. She wasn't a torta. She was like a burrito. Like all the meat was put there in the right places, right? Fucking filling and juicy. But if I'm 5'10", she's 6', 6'1", right, and a collegiate wrestler, you also have to put in perspective. I'm like, well, I like that. I do jiu-jitsu and judo ensemble, so it's all good. But with all that being said and done, I find it very interesting that when she got drunk, and if I wasn't there, or if I was with her and then she got more drunk, her inhibitions came down, and then I started seeing and hearing much how much aggression and animosity she had for me. Because if you ask Elvira, did Christian mistreat you, she will tell you point blank no. She will tell you that I never yelled at her. I have not yelled at her. I've never disrespected her personally. I have not done anything intrinsically bad to her that she could say like, "Oh, he was an abuser." Like she can tell you that I never abused her any way, shape, or form. Maybe I cracked a joke with her. Maybe I said something that was dark humor, but nothing specifically targeted to her. She could even tell you that I never beat her or raised my hand towards her. But she will tell you that it's my actions or inactions that made her feel intrinsically insignificant. I want to use that word, insignificant. And don't get me wrong, she was very catering when she wanted to be. She was very kind. But I just did not want, essentially, if I'm out partying with the boys, she was upset the fact that I didn't invite her out to be with the boys. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm with the boys. I mean, if you want to be here, you can. But this is not for you. This is for us. I'm with the boys. And if you're going to be with us, I need you to be a good wing girl. I need you to help my boy who is single get another girl. That's your purpose here. You're my social status. Nevertheless, right, then it got to the point where she's bitching, complaining. I remember there was this one time she was listening to Carlin Leon. I didn't know who Carlin Leon was, right? He's some Mexican, Tejano kind of artist. And I was like, oh, sounds like a song I heard before. And it was Sengu Kien by Maluma. I took her out to Cowtown Brewery here in Fort Worth. We had some drinks there. She obviously was drinking because she was at some place in Dallas. So she drives here. We drop the car off. Then we go to West 7th. I change a song midway from the Cowtown Brewing going to West 7th. And she says, if you don't like my fucking music, just tell me you don't like my fucking music. I'm, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm trying to find. She's like, well, why are you always hiding your phone? And I'm like, you have the password to my phone. The thing is, you don't like what's on my phone. So why the fuck are you mad? We've been dating for fucking 9 months. Anyway, long story short, I broke up with her because she said, quote unquote, she lost respect for me. So when I tell you this, you gentlemen, when a woman says she lost respect for you, the love it's the love will never be there, and it won't be there moving forward, because a woman can love you, a woman can respect you and not love you, but at some point she will fall in love with you or fall back with you. But when she loses respect for you, it's game over. You can't do that. You would literally have to let go of relationship A and all the trials and tribulations and start a new relationship, which is hard in of itself, and start relationship B. Like, you would have to let go of that relationship and literally start a new relationship. And that means changing and altering your moods and personas and your mannerisms. And that's quite difficult, if you want to hear me say. But even with that being said, I have no animosity towards my last girlfriend. But what I will say is, with my current girlfriends, I'll say Diana and T. Because I can't remember their fucking middle names for whatever reason. Like, it's just never did that. But anyway, so Diana, really kind girl, very sweet. One thing that I've learned about meeting Diana is that she was shocked on my chivalry. And I've said this time and time again. So we met again on Facebook dating, and I said, "Hey, meet me at the Lazy Moose on Magnolia." So we meet. I'm at the Lazy Moose on Magnolia in Fort Worth, and she's like 30 minutes late. All right, cool. So I have a drink, have a shot, and then there's this dude that's just badgering me. So he badgers me, and I'm like, you know what? If I'm bringing this girl for the first time, that makes great cocktails, by the way. The Lazy Moose makes great cocktails. And I think it was on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and I was still working for my at-home job. So I go there, and this guy's just badgering me. Badgering me. He's like, well, why do you laugh? Why do you smile? Like, you should be depressed. I'm like, what the fuck negativity is this? So I leave, I cash out, I leave. By the time I literally step out of the bar, she's walking up. I'm like, hey, we need to leave this bar because somebody's antagonizing me, and we'll just go somewhere else. We ended up going to the Usual. The Usual is a nice cocktail, speakeasy style bar. We had some drinks, then we went to Upper 90. All cool. One thing that she was very shocked with was me opening the seat, opening the door, and then essentially just being a gentleman. Walking on the outside of the sidewalk and she's on the inside. Me grabbing her hand when we're crossing the street, turning her over, putting her to my right side if the street's on my left side, those kinds of things. And then at one point she ends up grabbing my arm and she ends up just cuddling my arm while we're walking, as if we're in prom or a cotillion. And she was like, wow, you're such a gentleman. So when we go to Upper 90, open the door, and I'm like, all right, grab my hand. All right, cool. Hi. Find 2 seats. Open the seat. Push a seat in for her. Order the drinks. And I order the drinks for her. Guy says, hey, what do you want? I'm like, oh, give her a pineapple with a blueberry vodka and some Sprite off the top with a lime. Ordered that, right? I think it was Western Sun was a blueberry vodka. If not, it was Deep Eddies. One of those, I can't remember. And then, of course, I ordered my tequila club soda with the lime. But the fact that I was able to take from a cocktail to a dive bar and just show her in a 5-6 minute walk, chivalry and being a gentleman, now she's absolutely in love with me. And I never pressured her, took her home, fine, cool. She ended up finding out about my alter ego, right? I'm not going to tell you my real name because you don't need to know my real name. But Christian Gray, right? She was like, wow, you seem very different than on your videos. She's not even cool about it. She's actually older than me. So if I'm 28, she's like 31. The fact that I was able to treat her just as a lady, or in Spanish we call a dama, a dame, like a very sophisticated woman, even though to her she may be a hoe or a slut. When you treat a slut as a dame, but you're not simping for them, they're going to have that sense of, wow, this guy just treats me so well. But he's very direct. He's like, he told you. And I would say just the same things that I've told you before. I'm like, if you don't If you keep acting up, I'm going to have to remind you who's Papi tonight, right? You know, I'm pretty sure your last boyfriend or your ex-husband didn't spank you enough. Shit like that. And you play it off. It's not that big of a deal. You don't hold on to the quip. You don't hold on to that fast reaction. You do this over time. It takes time to be able to do that. Nevertheless, so that's one of them, Diana. The other one is T. I can't remember what her fucking name is. So, again, both of them Latinas, and then obviously I have Maritza, which was a Boricua. That was a one-time thing. Did the same thing, cool, whatever. But it was just like, I just need to get my dick sucked and my nuts drained. Nevertheless, did the same thing. I had made her drive over at like 3 in the morning. We had sex twice. All right, cool. Met her. All right, fuck off. Never again. She pretty much says, oh, what went wrong when I'm in Vegas last month? And I'm like, or 2 months ago, or a month and a half ago. And I'm like, bitch, I'm in Vegas. I'm like, I could give two shits about you. Anyway, no sweat off my back. But this new girl, T, content creation versus dating. How do you mitigate the damages? Some women are cool with it, some women are not. If you're a content creator, and I hope that this actually comes in with somebody who's a content creator, like somebody who's much well off more than I am. I hope this, if I make a YouTube short or a TikTok reel or Instagram reel or anything like that, if I make a TikTok, that like, I really hope this message gets out, because it can be hard. But I'm doing this podcast with or without a girlfriend or girlfriends. I'm doing it. I'm saying my opinion alone. Just like my last ex-girlfriend, Elvira, I told her, I'm like, I'm doing this podcast with or without you. Like, you don't have to be with me. And yes, I'm going to talk about you, but I wouldn't tell people, go on this Facebook and type in this name and that's my ex-girlfriend. No, I'm not going to do that. But I am going to use a pseudonym, a pen name, a nickname that only you and I would know. And if you leave me and you listen to my podcast and know that I'm using that pseudonym or pen name or nickname, obviously I'm not even putting the fact that I'm in a relationship on Facebook. Nobody's going to fucking know. Other than my close friends. But my close friends would never do that, right? Because I have good close friends. I have Jared. I have Maurice. I have fucking Chacho. I have fucking AJ. And then I have fucking Scott. And then I have William. So 6. I have really close 6 friends, right? Moving on from there. So this new girl T, right? Not Marisa, not Diana, but this new girl T. So with this one, she has intentions to become part of a police department. I'm not going to say which police department, but she wants to be a detective at a police department. Just consider that where I live in the DFW Metroplex, she's going to be a detective, or that's her goal, to be part of the DFW Metroplex detective, right? Somewhere on like the on that capacity. Well, this vieja is from New York originally. Well, I kind of knew that, but I kind of didn't. And so we ended up meeting at one of my good places on Little Road, Arlington, Scooters. The reason why I like that is because I have a very dive bar vibe with locals, but I have a club vibe as well. So we meet, find whatever, cool, do the same thing, open the door, open the chair. But the problem is this vieja is from New York. And the fact that she's from New York, I visited New York one time. Apparently, you don't stare people in the eyes, you don't open the door for him, and you look at the ground when you walk. That's not how it works in Texas. In Texas, you have to be on point. In Texas, I have a gun. You know what I mean? Like, I have a gun now. Like, I'm always strapped in that sense. Like, you can't pull the shit that you do in New York the way you do in Texas. You're going to get shot. You're going to get hit. Anyway, so She was very standoffish. Me just being a just being a gentleman, right? Opening the door, opening the chair, ordering drinks for her, ordering food for her. That was the first date. Fine, whatever. Just doing all that things. And I lied to her. When I mean to tell you, she says, "Do you have social media? Do you have Instagram?" I lied to her. I'm like, "No, I don't have Instagram. I just don't deal with it. I work for a foster care agency. There's nothing really exciting." I had an Instagram. But I'm not going to tell her that, right? So, second date, go over to her house. And second date, she comes to my house and nothing happens. When I mean to tell you that she came over to my house, we watched Sex in the City, and I cooked for her, and then I guided her on her way, that was it. Because when a woman comes over to your house, and although you are being friendly, you are being a gentleman, and I believe when I thought, so she had worked out before she came to my house, we were just chilling, whatever. I believe it was the fact that she got hungry and she was like, "Hey, I'm really good for a burger right now because we watched Sex in the City." And then I'm like, "Well, I thought you ate before we came. I thought you said that you worked out." And I'm like, "I'm not saying, hey, don't eat, right? I'm not saying, you should have eaten. I'm just saying if you're hungry, I'll cook for you." So fortunately for me, earlier that day, I had bought a rotisserie chicken that I had shredded, and I'm like, "Hey, are you fine with tacos?" And she's like, "All right, cool." So, I whip out the fucking pan, put some oil in it, get the tacos in one pan, the fucking iron cast in the other, put some hot sauce, put some water, put some seasoning in the rotisserie chicken, mix that up, put my salsa that I just made with tomatillos and jalapenos and garlic and onions. All right, mix that up. All right, cool. Put that there. Put some cheese on that. I didn't have lettuce, but I did chop up some tomato and some spinach. Put that in there, and she was fucking happy as a fucking fairy. That's cool. That's fine, right? Like, I don't mind cooking for a woman. I'm not saying as a man that it's feminine for you to cook for a woman. That's not what I'm saying. I believe it's a very gentleman act, the fact that you can cook. But what I am showing her in that spec, because I didn't kiss her on the lips, I gave her barely half a hug, and we're watching this, and we're talking about intimate things and personal things. Not too intimate about Christian Grey, but to me as a person. And, she eats her food, and then I send her on her way. I was like, "Text me when you get home." All right, cool. And then the third date, smashed, for 6 hours, right? We smashed for 6 hours. When I mean to tell you, this vieja was tighter than a fucking raw dog in pocket pussy. I mean to tell you, dude, I was just this vieja was she was not having it. I mean to tell you that it was like trying to fit a marshmallow through a keyhole. And don't get me wrong, when I get hard, I'm hard. But what I'm saying is, it just was not going in. I learned a new word after I smashed this woman. Almost 6 times, maybe 7. If it was 2 o'clock in the morning, because I left jiu-jitsu practice, went over there, took my laptop from my remote work job, and I so I'm there. I have that set up the Wi-Fi. She's cooking me eggs and protein pancakes, right? Because obviously this fucking Boricua from New York can't cook, shockingly, but she proclaims, "Oh, proud Boricua." Shut the fuck up. You're from a U.S. territory. You're an American citizen that doesn't even speak Spanish. That's what gets me mad. If I could barely speak Spanish, but at least I understand it. And if you, si me echas el centro de México, voy a volver al Estados Unidos. I will tell you that. But anyway, my grandma would probably hear this podcast and say que yo hablo bien mucho. But she doesn't know that because she's Tex-Mex and she had a 3rd grade education. But nobody knows my grandma. Don't tell that, my grandma. Sorry, grandma, but I had to tell you that you're smart, but you're not that smart. Anyway, moving on from there. So we're there, right? It's fucking 6 o'clock in the morning. Sun's coming out. It's July, late July, and I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm smashing, right? twice. I had to smash twice, bro. Smash this girl, finally busted. All right, cool, whatever. She takes a shower. It's early in the morning. Her friends are talking to her like, hey, how did last night go? Because she lives with roommates. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm smashing this girl again. Smash twice, whatever. Cool. I made the mistake of sharing a TikTok to her. I don't even remember the TikTok that I shared to her, but I shared her a TikTok after we smashed on the third date, right? Because we went over, I had wine, we had like margarita mixes. She made me protein pancakes, and I worked in the morning. I had to drive from Duncanville back to Haltom City, all that shit, right? The logistics on a Wednesday, Tuesday night going into Wednesday morning. And all that shit being said and done, I fucked up sending her a TikTok reel instead of a Facebook reel. And she ended up looking at my name, The Christian Grey, right? Mr. Christian Grey, my TikTok. And she went on full detective mode looking at my background. She bought my book. She fucking saw all my TikToks. She listened to some of my podcasts. Like, this woman from New York who is a Boricua that doesn't even speak Spanish and can barely cook. But I will say, hey, T, I'm just letting you know that you can make some eggs and protein pancakes and some bacon. And some bagel egg sandwiches. I'll say that. But you should get better cooking skills, because apparently I cook better than you. And I'm the man and you're the woman. But that's your job. Nevertheless. Anyway. I know she's going to flip shit. And I love it. So it goes to the point where she does that. And then she sends me this big ass, long ass text when I'm partying out with my best friend Maurice at one of his brother-in-law's birthday party, or his brother-in-law's wife's birthday party. And I'm just like, all right, cool, fine, whatever. And long story short, we end up reconnecting when I'm with Diana and Marisa and all the other fucking sleuts that I've been fucking with. And obviously I had Vegas and whatever. And now we're back together, but not really. And when I tell you this is, so I ended up picking her up at the airport. So I pick her up at the airport because she's like, hey, if it's not too much of a trouble, can you pick up at the airport and I'll save you for gas? And I'm like, I will pick you up from the airport, but the question is, I'm sleeping over and I need to get my laptop. Like the same thing. Obviously, her friends were home that day, and I wasn't going to push her. I wasn't going to push her to have sex with me, right? Like, we already smashed for like 6 hours, or at least I was trying to get the marshmallow into the fucking keyhole. But even with that said, even trying to get the marshmallow into the keyhole, it's very important to acknowledge that she wasn't about it that fourth time. I was literally doing a good Samaritan favor of picking her up at the airport because she was in New York. I didn't speak to her for like 2-3 weeks. She's like, hey, can you pick me up? Even though she had a lot of animosity because she was telling me exactly what I told you, that she went on full detective mode and just researched my lifestyle. I'm cool. I'm chill. I'm chévere. I'm bien, you know, el más guapo de todos. I'm cool. I'm chill. Like, it didn't bother me. Like, because, again, there was no animosity. She never said fuck off or fuck you or you're a piece of shit. She just said, like, I pretty much don't feel that what I've said. She could literally, in terms of the music that I play, that I've showed you guys, in terms of the actions that I've done being a gentleman, in terms of the positions that I put her in sex, she just felt that everything that I did was scripted. But what I did respond to her was, to you as a woman, it feels scripted, but I'm not talking to you. If you try to look up my podcast is not designed for you. My podcast is designed for men who have been in relationships, or are in a relationship, or in a marriage, or in some sort of engagement that the woman doesn't respect them. That's all my podcast is designed for. Is for women that, for men who their women don't respect them, don't do what I did. And if you are doing what I did, I'm going to tell you exactly how to get back on the dating market, because the dating market's hard. It is extremely difficult. Especially it depends on how much you make and what car you drive. Well, how do I make you just a good average person that knows what to say, what to do, and it doesn't feel scripted? That's what I told her. That was our ride home. When I picked her up from DFW, on my dime, no less. I'm not going to make her pay. It's like you asked as a friend. We are still friends, but again, I mean, I slept with you. So at the end of the day, he says, oh, he had a small dick. I don't have a small dick. Well, it's not that thin, but good size. Anyway, um, moving on from there, it's just more in the fact that I am telling this woman, I'm like, well, you're the one who got offended because everything that I did to you, it felt scripted. Yes, I've used it on you and other women multiple times. Obviously, she's from New York, and most of the women from New York are very standoffish because there's some hidden agenda, but I'm not from New York. If you cannot tell, I will want to say this. So I got this. If you haven't been there, and I'm not sponsored in any way, shape, or form, I got this velvet hat. It's a Texas country hat 4X. Customize. You can customize your hat. I got this hat from Gomez Western Wear in Fort Worth. This one's a navy blue, but they had black, they had gray, they had white, they had off gray, they had tan, they had maroon, they had brown, black, of course. If you want to find a good custom hat, go to Gomez Western Wear. I'm sorry, this is not a sponsored segment or anything like that. I just again, the whole purpose of this is me showing you that I had a date with this woman who... What's going on? Okay. I had multiple dates with this woman. Who she was very standoffish because she's from New York, and obviously being from Texas and being from New York, it's just two different things. It really is, right? Like the people, the culture, Anyway, long story short, I smash again. She ends up coming back to my house, smash again. But her thing is that my dark humor doesn't translate well to her humor. What does that mean? Well, it means a lot. So my dark humor, she ended up... I remember her saying, like, if I ever hear that you mentioned me in your podcast, I would leave you. And I'm like, mija, we're not even together. So we're just having casual fun. I'm going to talk about you because there's nothing you can fundamentally do. Because if you try to say, oh, he slandered me, well, I didn't even mention your name. Nobody knows who you are. For all you guys know, my audience, that I literally made up T and Diana and Marisa. But nobody knows who they are. The audience doesn't know. I can't slander or libel any one of y'all. Anyway, still funny. Or even Elvira. Because even with Elvira, there's so many viejas that are made Elvira. And if you think of Elvira, you think of Scarface. Anyway, long story short. So we go on a date. I show her around town. Cool. Twice. Whatever. Sex. Twice again. And now I have this vieja on the hook on my cock because I beat my meat into a cup, and that's the only way we do it, right? I've been watching The Boys off of the Prime, and I gotta say, Soldier Boy, Jensen Ackles is funny as fuck. I swear to God, biggest bigot ever. It reminds me of Trump, and go Trump. So anyway, I am a born vaquero, not a Texan. I am a vaquero. I did go to Tarleton. Go Texans, or go Texans, yes. I am a Texan as my alma mater, but as a Hispanic Mexican man whose parents are from Del Rio or Port Isabel, Texas, and or Veracruz, Martinez de la Torre, or the Totonac, I think that's what they call them. I am true vaquero, and I'll say that. And I tell Grandma, if you're listening to this, Mom, if you're listening to this, y'all really fucked up in not putting me in ESL like my sister did. I'm still jealous about that. You fucked up. That's why I have 2 English books, and this one has tabs so I can keep on it. Y'all really fucked up. Anyway, nevertheless, so content or love? I know I've gone on a lot of tangents in this video, but I do want to bring in real life scenarios of what have happened to me. Diana's cool with it. Marisa was cool with it. T's not cool with it, right? T's very conservative. Diana, Mexican as fuck. Marisa, she is Puerto Rican, but she's Texan, Puerto Rican. T, New York, Puerto Rican, comes to Texas, obviously there. One of the funniest things is that she was able to buy a gun at Academy, and I'm just saying this because I can't remember where she bought her gun because I didn't ask. If I did, I don't remember. But she just could not understand or comprehend that somebody in Texas can go buy a gun and a safe and some bullets and protect themselves, and she wants to be a detective. That's right. But going back to you, it's there's a lot of cultural differences and state, like nationality, and we have region differences. Texas is not New York, and New York is not Texas. So even with that being said, is I'm pretty sure you can find a fuckboy in New York. It's pretty easy. It's the worst place to date, at least what I saw in Good Morning America. But Texas is, we have a lot of chivalry. We're gentlemen at heart. We'll open the door for you if you meet the right person or if you're in the right region. But for the most part is that if you meet a Texan that hunts, that fishes, that shoots on the weekends at a range, or he does some sort of jiu-jitsu or judo or sambo or wrestling, and he loves football, if you put those 8 things together at some cross combination, I promise you that guy's going to be a gentleman he's a gentleman at some point. And wears a cowboy hat. And I'll tell you what, I love my fucking felt cowboy hat. Yeah, I love my felt cowboy hat. I got this shit customized. Bien mamalone. Anyway, nevertheless. So, content or love, which will she choose? If I can give you a synopsis for this particular video is hold your frame, be consistent. As a man, be consistent. If she says, I don't like your content, your only response to her is, it's not made for you. I mean, if you feel, if the shoe fits, then wear it. But if it offends you, it's probably, I'm talking about you. Then you go from side chick to hoe. You're not main chick material. You're not wife material, and that's fine. So content or love, or content or bitches, or content or lust, or content or side, whatever one it is. If you are a content creator, she is going to have to. She doesn't need to. She has to and have to respect your profession or side hobby. If this is your profession, she has to respect it. If it's your side hobby, respect it. She doesn't have to necessarily like it, but she has to respect it, because with respect comes love. But if she doesn't have respect for it, she's never going to love you as a human being. I can tell you that with any woman that you ever date. Your only option, you can do what I did. You can lie to her. Just the same way that you lied to her about being a man of multiple women. Right? The only question is do you have a hoe? Do you have a side chick? Do you have a main chick? That's the difference. I'm choosing my pattern. If I give my phone to any one of the girls that I'm dating, Marisa, Diana, fucking Kylie, Caitlyn, Sarah, Maggie, fucking T, whatever. If I get they can get my phone. Are they gonna like what they see? No, but they have to respect the fact that I'm a man of multiple women, and their only option is to share me. The question is, who gets their privilege is who gets to sleep in my bed and who gets to make them food. That's their privilege. But their return favor is their only option is to cook for me and make me coffee and make my bed and clean my bathroom and clean up my clothes and do my laundry. That's their reward. That's how we do it. So content or love, content creation or love. I will say at the end of the day, you get to choose the life you want to live. I cannot force you. I cannot coerce you. Everything is about consent, caution, and care. And how you choose your life is of your own volition. It's of your own choice. It's of your own sentient being. I'm just here letting you know what has worked for me, and that I don't want you to have to experience my trials and tribulations I experience. I want you to give you the best life with your relationships and your profession as best you can. Whether you have a separated professional and personal life, that's what I want to do. You have a public life, you have a private life, and you have a secret life. Very few people know the secret life. Your inner circle knows your private life, and a lot of people know your public life. All I'm saying is we're all hurting in some way, shape, or form, but the question is, how do you get from worse to bad, bad to better, better to good, good to great, and great to excellence. So I hope you enjoyed the segment. I do apologize for not being consistent with my podcast videos. I hope the first 20 minutes was good enough for you. And until next time, guys, you know where to find me on YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook, Instagram. And I hope that if you have any questions, stay tuned. Take care. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. How can Christian Gray help you?